So I'm reading a passage from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and it says, by drinking they all became delirious and bereft of knowledge. They touched the core of each other's hearts with harsh words, so they start arguing among themselves. By the interaction of the force of intoxication, all their minds became unbalanced and destruction took place. Now, the context that I'm reading this from, the general picture, this is the downfall of the Yadu dynasty. It was Lord Krishna's descendants. He had divided, according to the story, if you want to take it literally, he divided himself into 16,108 beings, portions of himself, and married 16,108 women and had 10 kids by each one of them, and obviously they grew up and had kids of their own. So his dynasty, his family was significantly large, and he had to destroy them. Everybody had to die when he died to relieve the burden of the earth. And as he returned to wherever, to Vandavan, I believe is a place. So the reason I read that passage is that, a lot of times people come into MGTOW or in any situation, but really talking about men going their own way. If you're a man who has gone your own way, maybe from a failed relationship or just not getting enough play from women, you just tired of the whole complexity of things like that. You should not consider alcohol as a coping mechanism, because it unbalances the mind. Um, so you won't think clearly. You'll be drunk, but the problems doesn't go away. And a lot of the times the problems becomes more internalized to you, and you become the problem. You won't allow yourself to grow. And MGTOW, no principles in MGTOW would help that. Keep in mind, MGTOW is just one terminology for that is used to identify um, alpha alpha traits, basically. So if you don't like the term MGTOW, men going your own way, you could think of it as an alpha type personality that's kind of equivalent to what MGTOW is about. But MGTOW, I think, is a little more superior than just the alpha personality. It allows us to take time to grow, to develop ourselves, to be self-contained, um, and to stay going our own way, regardless if we get back into relationships or not. But if alcohol comes in to the picture in an unhealthy way, it unbalances the mind, and there's no way you can grow and develop in any of the eight healths. If the mind is, if any one of them, the mental part and the emotional part is entangled in a loop, a loop cycle, um, and ultimately it says, and destruction took place. Ultimately, destruction does take place, either slowly or quickly. And alcohol is similar to heroin in the fact that if your body becomes dependent on it, you can literally die from withdrawal symptoms. If you do try catch yourself and try to get off, there's a possibility of that. I don't know how many people have died from alcohol withdrawal, but I'm sure there's a lot of research out there. You can check it out yourself. I always support people doing their own research. You hear me say something, go out there and do their own research. If you're into facts and figures, you can look it up yourself. It's there. Um, because you can't really grow if you don't do your own research as well to confirm or deny what I'm saying. So while you're in MGTOW, you may want some suggestions other than alcohol. Um, Obviously, you're growing. You observe your life. Take a step back from yourself and observe the place you are in your life. Using the eight healths, and see where you are in each one of them. Really take the time to analyze yourself in the eight healths, and you would find you'll have a starting point where you can grow and develop yourself. And if you, for some reason, you're unable to do that alone, even if you look at these YouTube videos of people giving advice and information and ideas, like I am, it is still a good idea to seek professional therapy for some things, like certain situations like that, because for one, it's a one-on-one thing. I'm on here doing generalized stuff for the whole world, whoever watches this, so it's not specific to your needs. The second thing, even though I have a master's degree in psychology that's heavily based in business, it is not the same as therapy. People who have certified as therapists and psychologists and psychiatrists, there's or counselors, things like that. It's there are certain um, steps that they have to take in providing information and providing you tools that you can use to cope with a lot of these things. But if you can't cope with a lot of these things, you should really seek out therapy. This stuff that I do, it's like a tip of the iceberg, um, and I tend to more lean on the spiritual side of things. So you may not be able to grasp some of that stuff now, but at its basic level, don't use substances, or in this case alcohol, to mask the problems that's there, because the problems won't go away. It will just still be there. Like, subscribe, share the video if you think this will be helpful to someone. Hit the notification bell, because I hear it does something. And if you have any questions or comments, write it in the comment section or shoot me an email. Y'all have a good night.